I have spent the last 4,236 days of my life sitting in the exact same kind of chair. It's always vinyl, so it's always slightly uncomfortable, and it's always placed right next to a bed where someone is taking their final breaths on this earth. My name is Thomas. I am 54 years old, and for the last 12 years, I had been a hospice chaplain. I am the person they call when the medicine stops working, when the aggressive treatments are abandoned, and when the only thing left to do is wait for the curtain to fall. I've sat with thousands of people as they cross the border. I've held their hands as their skin cooled. I've listened to their final confessions, their whispered terrors, their profound epiphanies. When you spend that much time in the anterior room of death, you start to see patterns. The human experience, as chaotic and diverse as it seems when we are healthy, collapses into a brutal, beautiful uniformity when we are dying. The noise vanishes. The signal becomes deafeningly clear. Boy, you'd ask me, Thomas, what is it? What's the biggest regret? Is it working too much? Is it not traveling enough? Is it money? Those are regrets, yes. The classic "I worked too hard" cliche is absolutely real, but it is not the deepest cut. It is not the one makes grown men weep uncontrollably into their pillows in the middle of the night. The biggest, most devastating regret I hear from dying people is going to surprise you. And if you are listening to this right now while you still haven't till too late to fix it, let me tell you about a woman named Eleanor. Eleanor was 82. She had a strong, beautiful, chaotic family. 5 children, 14 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. Her hospital room looked like a florist shop that had exploded. There were balloons, hand-drawn cards, expensive arrangements of lilies and roses. From the outside, Eleanor's life was a masterpiece success. She had been married to the same man for 60 years. She had built a legacy. I sat with her on a koi cat Thursday afternoon. The family had gone down to the cafeteria. It was just the two of us. The rhythmic swish click of the oxygen machine was the only sound in the room. Eleanor placed her fragile, translucent hand over mine. She looked at me with eyes that were perfectly clear, perfectly sharp, and filled with an ocean of sorrow. "Thomas," she whispered. Her voice was barely a rasp. "I never actually showed up for the play." I didn't understand. "What play, Eleanor? Did you miss a school performance?" She shook her head slowly, squeezed my hand. "No, my life. The whole thing was a play. And I spent the entire 82 years sitting in the audience, watching everyone else perform." That is the regret. It's not just about not taking risks. It's the profound, soul-crushing realization that they spent their entire existence living a life that someone else designed for them. The most common regret of the dying is the agony of unlived authenticity. It is the terrible knowledge that they suppressed their true voice, their true desires, true bizarre, messy self in order to fit into a mold that society, their parents, or their culture handed to them when they were too young to know any better. Eleanor had wanted to be a botanist. She had wanted to travel to the Amazon and study rare orchids. But in 1958, her father told her that was ridiculous for a woman. She married the banker he approved of. She raised the kids she was expected to raise. She hosted the dinner parties she was supposed to host. She played the role perfectly. She hit every single mark, memorized every single line. And on her deathbed, surrounded by the beautiful results of that performance, she felt entirely hollow. Because the woman who actually lived that life wasn't really her. It was a character she had invented to keep everyone else comfortable. You have to understand the gravity of this. Right now, as you are sitting in your car commuting or scrolling on your phone in your kitchen, you are making thousands of micro decisions every day. And most of those decisions are driven by a singular, suffocating fear. What will they think of me? What will my boss think if I speak up in this meeting and say the strategy is flawed? What will my neighbors think if I let my lawn die to plant the vegetable garden? What will my family think if I quit my respectable job to become a struggling artist at 45? The fear of judgment is the architect of your prison cell. You are weaving the bars of your own cage, thread by thread, every time you swallow your truth to make someone else comfortable. Let me tell you what happens to the judgment of other people when you are lying in a hospice bed, evaporates. It ceases to exist. It carries zero mass. If this is hitting you right now, if you are realizing that you are currently playing a character in a movie directed by your own fear of judgment, stop exactly what you are doing. Hit the subscribe button on this channel. Join us. Join the community of the people who are actively trying to break the script. Don't let the algorithm pull you back to sleep. You need daily reminders to wake up because the world is constantly trying to put the mask back on your face. Let's look at a different flavor of this same regret. A man named Arthur. Arthur was a tough guy, a retired police detective, 68 years old, lung cancer. He was built like a tank, even as the disease hollowed him out. He didn't cry. He didn't ask for pain meds until his teeth were entirely ground down from clenching them. I sat with Arthur for weeks. We mostly watched baseball on the muted television. He wasn't a man of many words. One evening, during the bottom of the seventh inning, Arthur muted the TV completely. He stared at the blank screen for a long time. I never told him.
Who?
My son, Danny. I loved him so much, it literally hurt my chest to look at him when he was a kid. But I was raised by a man who taught me that boys don't show affection. Men don't say, I love you. Men provide. Men protect. Men stay hard. He's 32 now, rarely visits. He thinks I'm a cold, heartless bastard. And I let him think that for his entire life because I was too much of a coward to break the generational curse. I played the role of the tough dad perfectly, and it cost me my son. Arthur died 3 days later. Danny didn't make the flight in time. This is the tragedy of wearing the mask. When you wear a mask, nobody can ever actually love you. They can only love the mask. They can only connect with the armor. And armor is cold. Armor is isolating. We are so desperate for connection, yet we are utterly terrified of being seen. We think, if they really knew me, if they knew my fears, my insecurities, my bizarre obsessions, they would reject me. So we curate. We curate our Instagram feeds. We curate our office personalities. We curate our marriages. And then you get to the end of the line and you realize you spent 70 years successfully hiding from the exact connection you spent your entire life starving for. It is madness. The hospice room strips away the curiosity. When your body is failing, when you can no longer control your bowels, when your hair has fallen out from the chemo, the mask shatters. You cannot pretend anymore. And in that shattering, an incredible, profound beauty emerges. The patients who finally let the mask drop experience a low level of peace that is almost supernatural. They finally breathe the air of reality. But why did we wait? Why do we wait until our last 48 hours to finally let the people you love see our actual faces? I am begging you, with everything I have seen and felt in these rooms, do not wait. Do not wait for the catastrophic diagnosis to start living authentically, because living authentically isn't an event. It's a practice. It requires immense daily courage. Courage is not jumping out of airplanes. Courage is not fighting in a war. Courage is looking your partner in the eye and saying, I am terrified, I am failing at this. Courage is calling your father and saying, I don't actually agree with your politics, and I need you to know who I really am. Courage is quitting the job that pays you 6 figures, but makes you want to drive your car into a bridge every morning. Courage is disappointing the people who want you to be a convenient fiction, so you can finally become a convenient reality. If this truth is resonating, if my voice hides nouns like a crowbar trying to pry open the prison door in your chest, then I need you to hit the like button. Tell the digital overlords that this vibration matters. Help me push this lifeboat to someone who is currently drowning in their own performance. Let's talk about the specific mechanics of breaking the character. How do you do it? You start with the tiny, terrifying micro truths. I had a patient, a young woman named Sarah, 34, brain tumor. She was a brilliant graphic designer, hyper-independent, fiercely ambitious. When she got sick, her instinct was to manage the sickness like a project, to remain capable. She refused help, alienated her friends because she didn't want them to see her weak. She pushed her boyfriend away. I sat with her as her motor functions deteriorated. The anger was consuming her. Not anger at the tumor. I had anger that her carefully constructed identity of complete self-sufficiency was crumbling. I can't even hold a spoon, Thomas, she sobbed one afternoon. I'm disgusting. I'm a burden. Sarah, I said, you have spent your entire life making sure nobody had to carry your weight. You made yourself invulnerable. The tumor is taking your independence. But you are the one deciding to push the one away. She looked at me, fury in her eyes. But underneath the fury was a terrified little girl. What do I do? She asked. You tell your boyfriend the truth, I said. You say, I am helpless, I am terrified, and I desperately need you to hold me. It took her 3 days to summon the courage to say those words to him. When she did, he didn't run away. He didn't look at her with disgust. He fell to his knees beside her bed and wept with relief, because for the first time in their 3-year relationship, he had finally let him all the way in. She died 2 weeks later, not of independence, but with profound, messy, beautiful interdependence. We are not built to be islands. We are built to be intertwined root systems, holding each other up in the soil. You think your independence is your strength. Your independence might just be your trauma. Your hyper-independence is often just a sophisticated defense mechanism designed to prevent anyone from getting close enough to see that you are flawed. Let them see you. Let them see the flaws, because the flaw is where the light enters the structure. A perfectly sealed, uncracked vessel cannot hold anything new. I want to talk about the concept of the someday archive. In every single hospice room I enter, there is a metaphorical shelf lined boxes containing the somedays. Someday I will learn to play the piano. Someday I will write that apology letter to my sister. Someday I will quit the firm and start my bakery. Someday I'll travel to Kyoto and watch the cherry blossoms fall. The most brutal realization of terminal illness is the visceral understanding that someday is not a day of the week. Someday is a fantasy island that doesn't exist on any map. You do not have a guarantee of a tomorrow. You do not even have a guarantee of the end of this sentence. The only thing you possess is the fragile, fleeting, electrifying now. I had a patient named David, 50, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. He was a brilliant software engineer, a meticulous planner. His entire life was built on projections, quarterly goals, and 10-year roadmaps. When the disease hit, rapidly stripped away his motor control. He was trapped in a body that was turning to stone while his mind remains perfectly lucid. I communicated with him using an eye tracking device. He would type out sentences by looking at a screen. One day, I asked him, David, if you had 5 minutes of perfect health right now, what would you do? I expected him to say he would run a marathon, or climb a mountain, or fly to space. He stared at the screen. The letters appeared slowly. IOEF, ICCEC, YEL, IMEPOBONAXIS, yes, BBINNOIBs. He looked away from the screen and locked eyes with me. There was a desperate urgency in his gaze. He didn't want the grand cinematic moments. He wanted the absolute mundane privilege of being annoyed in traffic. He wanted the friction of ordinary life. He wanted the tedious, annoying, beautiful texture of a normal Tuesday afternoon that we are all currently throwing away into the garbage because we are too busy dreading it. The ordinary is the miracle. The fact that you can stand up, walk to your kitchen, pour cold water into a glass, and drink it without choking is a staggering, mind-bending miracle of biology. And you were lying to it. We are sleepwalking through masterpieces simply because we have seen them every day. Wake up. You have the golden ticket. You have the functioning meat suit. You are still breathing. Do not wait for the hospice chaplain to sit in the viner next to your bed to have this revelation. You can have it today. You can have it right this second. You can decide right now to take off the mask, to make the terrifying phone call, to quit the soul-destroying job, to finally tell the truth about who you really are. It is going to be messy. People are going to be confused. Your family might be angry. Your friends might not understand the new you. Let them be angry. Let them be confused. It is better to disappoint the entire world than to reach the end of your life and realize you've profoundly disappointed yourself. I have a challenge for you today. When this video ends, I want you to go down to the comments section and I want you to type out the one thing, the one uncomfortable, terrifying truth about who you are or what you want to do. but you have been hiding from the world. Write it down anonymously. Release it into the universe. Put it on the digital record. And then I want you to find one person in your real life and tell them that exact same truth today. Break the seal. Take off the armor. Let them see your actual face. It will be terrifying. But on the other side of that terror is the only freedom that actually exists. And if you know someone who is living a deeply curated lie, someone who is suffocating inside their own performance, share this video with them. You might be the chisel that cracks the concrete around their heart. I am Tom Pumice. I have sat with thousands of dying people. They all told me to tell you the exact same thing. Do not wait. Now, go clear out your someday archive, because someday is today.